Thank you. Once again, good afternoon and welcome to a very special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. Obviously, today should not be special because today is our regular programming day every Sunday. And as a matter of fact, we do have a major show coming up later tonight. We have Councillor Jallo and a bunch of other Liberian lawyers coming on tonight to discuss the merits, the legal basis of dual citizenship, the lawsuit brought against the Liberian government with respect to dual citizenship. They will be on tonight, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Well, in addition to that, before that, we also have a very important show, the one we're on right now, the one that brought all of us here. And I can tell already by the number of people logging in, that speaks to the significance of this current event. And tonight, right now, we are hosting, honoring a very special request from a very prominent member of our Mandingo community, of the Liberian community, Brother Isiaka Sidibey, who will be making a very special announcement. I've always said there are times when we have to struggle to introduce our guests, and there are other times when we do not need to introduce them because obviously their name brought you here, so you know them better than I do. So with that said, I'll turn the floor over to Brother Isiaka Sidibey. So he will begin his special deliberation, and shortly after that, as I said, we'll start asking him questions. So Brother Sidibey, welcome to the show, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kroma, and thank you for that warm welcome. And my brothers and sisters, welcome on this show tonight for this special edition. I want to thank all of you. I'm humbled and very touched by your presence for answering our call to come on this show and listen to what we have to offer and listen to what we have to say. And at the end of the day, we will be welcoming statements, suggestions, and questions as well. And we'll be very highly humbled to answer those questions as well. Over the past few weeks, for the benefit of those that have not heard of me or that have not known me, once again, my name is Isiaka Sidibey, a native of Nimba, born in Sanikole, Nimba County, Liberia, born to enter the union of Mr. Musa Sidibey and Makani Sangari. I have worked here with FELMAUSA for the past 6 years, a founding member of FELMAUSA as well. I've also served as a secretary of my state, social committee chairman of my state, vice president of my state, and currently president of my state. The past 2 years, I've served as the board of director of the secretary of the National Board of Directors. So with that in mind, over the past few weeks, we sat down for long trying to work on how best FELMAUSA has been going, evaluating issues. And at the end of the day, we brought up questions. What can we do to continue to hold on to this precious organization? What can we do to make sure that the founding members of this organization had a vision? Is this going as intended? If not, is there anything we can do? And if yes, how best can we help this organization? This morning and a few days ago, we reached out to our brothers and sisters, campaign experts, and talked to them how best they can evaluate this thing. And last night, we came to a conclusion. And I wanted it to be very public, and I wanted it to be very humble and in a Mandingo traditional way. I reached out to the previous presidents, starting with Mohammed Richmond Kone, the former president, and also I called Mohammed Dukle from Liberia. I did not reach him, and I reached out to his secretary, Mr. Famoli Kroma, and of course our current president, Mr. Mohammed Belete, and former vice presidents as well. And I also reached out to the respectful candidates that are running this year and tell them my vision and place on that what I see as candidates. And I told them of my intention. And of course, after meeting with families, my states, I decided to come forward with my intention to run for candidates as the next president of the Federation of Liberian Mandingo Association of the United States. there are few questions and few hardcore decisions that were made during the process. Looking at the organization, for the past few years, it came as a savior of the Madigo community because we know what we have and we know what we don't have. So members of this organization a few years back, it was through OB that came here 2006, 2007, and introduced to us the vision for FELMAUSA. And we 100% embraced it right away and became one of the founding members of this organization. We continue to work hard through the help of this present VPO, Mr. Abdullahi Kwazaya. We decided to work hard for this organization. There were some contentious issues where states did not know how best to benefit from the organization. We continue to work hard bilaterally, me and him. We went to conventions. We did all we can. We paid our dues. And a few years back, when Kosha decided to run for VP for the VP position, we embraced him as well. We did all we can do. And I ran as the vice president, as the secretary of state, as secretary of the board of directors. So a few questions that came to our mind as to why we want to run was that, do I have the time to run this organization? Do I have the knowledge and the creativity to run this organization? Do I have the core value as a Madingo man to run this organization? And all of the questions were answered as an emphatic yes. And also, do I have the reach out capacity as a president to run this organization? I'm running with competitive brothers and sisters, being Muhammad Fofana and potentially Mr. Traoré as well. They are humble brothers. I've worked with them over time. I've worked with Muhammad Fofana for the past 2 years on the board. Honorable Traoré is an elder statesman that deserves too much respect. I've worked with him since 2009. And the question that came to my mind that, can I do anything better than all those candidates? And the question was yes as well. Do they have the capacity to run this organization? That was yes as well. So I decided to run with them with respect, and I pledged to them, I called them today, that I was going to run with them as competitors, not as enemies. And the aspiration that we have is to bring FELMAUSA back to the basics. So these are what we have in mind. And with that said, I want to stop here shortly. And I want to ask you for your blessings and your prayers, and I'll be willing to answer questions as we go forward. Thank you, Mr. Kroma, and I want to thank the guests and all those that are here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Sidibey. I really do want to commend you for the courage to step up. It's no secret that our community lacks leadership at the state level, the federal level. Unfortunately, even in Liberia, it's not often that you find well-prepared, well-qualified people stepping up for responsibility. So I'm personally excited that people are jumping up this time to vie for the presidency for our unknown federation as of yet. So thank you for doing so. Well, folks, you've just heard Brother Isiaka Sidibey, and as usual, this part of the show is dedicated for you specifically. So if you have any question, comment, or concern at this time, your question lines are open. You may begin dialing *61 on your phone, *61 on your phone. I don't have to pick on everybody. The number is not terribly large, but I don't have to do that. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. But if you have any question, comment, or concern with regard to what Brother Isiaka Sidibey had to say, now will be the time to dial *61. So we will open up your line, and you will have your say. You'll seek those clarification and ask those tough questions. While we await that, I'd like to ask Brother Isiaka Sidibey. So why now? I know you said that you ran last year as for the secretary for the board. Why didn't you run for the presidency at that time? Why are you any more prepared now than you were last year or year before last to say?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kumar, for that question. I think it's a good question. What I usually do is that I always evaluate myself. look at myself and set a very high expectation. I try to always fight myself to do better. So at the time, from a local organization to a presidency of the federation, I did not see that as a viable option for me. I wanted to learn to come closer to those that have run this organization. So during the AB Kroma era as a chairman of the board, we came there and I worked as the assistant secretary of the board, learned from him. And through Honorable Famo Kone, I also worked with him and learned from him. So I began to prepare myself. I talked to all those elders that are in this organization, all those friends. I attended conferences. I also prepare myself down here. I have different organizations that I've joined down here to understand that organization is about endurance. Can you withstand all the pressure? Do you have the innovative experience to do things? We can put it into theory. How do you run an organization? You have to have a leader. You have to have a secretary. You have to have this and that. But practically, what do you do to run an organization? You have to withstand pressure. You have to actually bring the organization to its basic, the core value of what we are about. So these are some of the things you don't just learn in school. You do it, and you talk the talk, and you walk the walk. I have done these things over the past few years, and I think and I know I'm ready now to lead the organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think our first caller for the day, and that happens to be Brother Muhammad Sharif. But first, bear with me. Certain phone numbers come as wireless caller without name, and if it appears as such, then I will have to call the last 4 digits of your number so you can identify yourself. But fortunately, this came as Muhammad Sharif, I believe, of Philadelphia. So, Brother Sharif, welcome to a very special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your comment, concern, or question for Mr. Isiaka Sidibey, sir.
Yes, thank you, Brother Foreman. Thank you, Isiaka, for the invitation. I come here, based on invitation I got, and so one of the first of its kind in our community shows that the community is evolving into something that I would like to see. This is certainly the beginning of something new, and what you want to see in a community is that, from time to time, you begin to see the evolution of new ideas and new things and new individuals who want to make a difference. We do have candidates who have positioned themselves to lead. We do have a very able and capable candidate here in Pennsylvania who I've also heard about. We do have now Brother Sidibey, who I have followed on our communication medium, who I think is a very capable. I have no doubt is a capable and skillful, will provide skillful leadership to the organization. So far we have these two committed individuals. I heard of a third person, but I don't know if this third person is feasible because in order to run, your member chapter have to certify you. So you can't position yourself if you don't have the blessing of your member chapter, and that's very logical. So far we have 2 candidates, and these 2 candidates are very capable. So what I would like to say is that we begin a conversation between these 2 individuals and see their ideas. Seems like their ideas seem to match, and we will be looking at their platforms. And it seems that in that area as well, they seem to be providing us the same thing, and this is very, very refreshing. And so what I would like to see is that a kind of conversation between individuals of same ideas, like-minded individuals who can provide us the type of leadership that they promise, the type of leadership that will evolve and certainly put us on the path to even stand on the shoulders of those who have brought us here. Brother Stephen mentions a process. The process started with the founding members and the Richmond leadership, Mohammed Ducle, Mohammed Billit's leadership, and now, so you want to build up on that. So I certainly thank you. So mine is more of a comment than a question, so I certainly want to thank you guys for this and certainly for this forum and certainly those who are around this forum. It's a new beginning, and I'm happy. I'm very, very happy and thrilled that this is going on at this point in time in our history.
Okay. Thank you, Bashir. Before I let you go, though, you said you have a very able candidate in Pennsylvania. Do you care to share the name of that candidate? Because I don't know if I heard that. We heard that there's possibly another candidate from Jersey, but I haven't heard of any from Philadelphia. Do you care to share any more information? Jersey.
Okay, so Jersey. We do have. Okay, so that's three. I heard of Musa Trawali. This was on the listserv as well. You know, those who follow the listserv. It was on the listserv, and I apologize to the brother from Newark. His was also, I believe, on the listserv. So it's three. And obviously Brother Sidibey, so I think it's three. Yes.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, thanks for that clarification. But I do want to say, though, as a resident of Minnesota, make no mistake, Minnesota candidate will make the ballot. They are working on it. But thank you for your comments. Thank you. That was a comment, and Mr. Sidibey, unless you care to add to the comment, otherwise we'll keep the questions going. If you care to add to what Brother Sharif had to say, that's up to you.
Thank you. Of course, Brother Sharif speak, you have to say some few words. How can you not be overwhelmed? But Sherry, I want to thank you for coming on this forum as well. You have been doing what our community, our elders expect of you, and you've been spreading it around. So that's something we want to take up on and make it more formal. This is a part of our goal. We've seen it, we've followed it, and we've acted on those things that our brothers, you from Pasiki and the likewise, they've done these things over and over, and we want to be able to pick up the slack. So I'm very, very overwhelmed by your presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Folks, keep the questions coming. Dial *61 on your phone. If you have any question, comment, or concern, please dial *61 so that we'll open up your line. We'll take our next caller. And like the first caller, this number also came with a name, so we'll call the name. It's Mr. Ansumana Randolph Jabate, I believe, of New York. Mr. Jabate, welcome to special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your question, comment, or concern for Mr. Sidibey?
This is Asumana Jabate Randolph from New York. I'm not a member of FELMAUSA, but I am a regular listener to LDF. And
thank you.
Whatever the program is, I would like to participate. But I am listening to you. You are well spoken, Honorable Sidibey. And but here's the question: what will you do differently from the past leadership to move FELMAUSA forward? Take into consideration, I'm not a member of FELMAUSA. And I am a member of the Liberian Mining Association of New York.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. And I appreciate your presence as well. Ladingo communities are fractional situations. Having different organizations has meant to strengthen us, not to have us as isolated. So wherever we are, we want to continue to reach out to make sure that things come in. Your question as to what would I do differently more than the previous administrations, that's very not simple, but at the same time simple in certain ways. If you look at the three previous presidents, I'm a student of history. Before I started this process, I've been thinking about it thoroughly. The previous administrations, they've had three distinct characters. All were good at what they did. If you look at Mr. Coney, he had that creative innovation. He saw something. followed by Mr. Dukley, who was very bold. He needed specificity. And coming to the current president, who wanted an outreach and very humble in his own way. Thankful to God, not boasting, I possess all those three at the same time. I believe that in order to make FELMAUSA very viable and bring it to its basic as envisioned by the members of the founding members, we have to be able to reach out all the time. Make FELMAUSA a sense of belongingness to its members. If we don't do that, we may not be able to achieve our goals. It has to be done through knowledge, through endurance, through follow the rule of law. Most of the time, we've had people when they are faced with challenges and pressure, they forgo the law. We have not been able to define maniaya to its real definition. And through the process, through these few days, we'll be able to put out things that are very vital to this knowledge. These are some of the things that I want to do. Consistency, follow the rule of law, and a vigorous outreach, defining what FELMAUSA is about. If you know what FELMAUSA is about, you should be able to love the Majingo community. You should be able to join it. So these are some of the things that we'll be doing. And most importantly, we have the time, and we will have the manpower and the skills we need, inshallah ta'ala. And I hope that will answer your question.
Thank you. If it didn't answer the question, we certainly encourage him or any other previous caller to dial star 61 to ask a follow-up question. And by the way, let me personally thank Brother Jabate. Brother Jabate, you've been a great help to LDF. I saw the announcement posted on Limani last night with regard to our big show coming up tonight. Liberian lawyers coming to debate the issue of dual citizenship. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate it. Folks, I see a few of you just joined us. We want to say welcome to a very special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. We have the honor of hosting Mr. Isiaka Sidibey, who has just declared his intention for FELMAUSA presidency. And so we are now at the question and answer period. So if you came with any preconceived question, by all means, please dial star 61 and I will open up your line so you can have a say. Keep in mind, this is not the full 2-hour show. We are here at most for 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes. And we've been here about half an hour already. So before I take the next question, though, I think you kind of touched on this, Mr. Sidibey, but if you could elaborate on a little bit, I would appreciate that. And the question has to do with the likes of Mr. Jabate. He started his question by saying that he's not a member of FELMAUSA. And quite frankly, I have seen a few people like that over the years, and I personally believe that our federation or the federation will benefit from the potential of all of our people. So what would President Sidibey do to win the support, the membership of those brothers and sisters who are still sitting on the fence?
Yes, Mr. Kurma, thank you very much. I think one major thing we can do. We have many educated Majingo community members here without any account of any of them. I have Mohammed Kamara here in my state. He's an MBA. He has not been reached out to as he should be. He's been reached out to in certain ways, but he has not felt that sense of need to come around. It requires a leader who has the consistency to do that. People that are on the fence, they are helping the community in different ways. How do you merge that? How do you expand? You know, God created us, as we've always said, Islamically, put us into families and kaba'il so that we know our potentials, but not to make us isolated from one another. So while doing these things, we have leaders in demand. If we have leaders in other organizations, they have talent. They're all in the need of helping the Majingo community. If we can reach out to those people, making it the larger Majingo goal, I think President Sidibey has the outreach capacity and ability. As you can see, I told you earlier that I was able to reach out to all those people in a twinkle of an eye, telling what my intentions were. And I was able to succeed in that. So that's something I will focus my presidency on, making sure that people understand that education and sense of belongingness, knowing that there's a community there for you, and knowing that the community has helped you so that you can be able to help back. That's something I will I would like our leaders to do, and my administration will be focusing on that as well.
Thank you. We'll take our next caller then. No name. The last 4 digit happens to be 3125. 3125, I believe it's a Pennsylvania number. Would you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question, comment, or concern for Mr. Sidibey? 3125.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Mohammed Kamara, Jr. I live in Philadelphia area here. I just came in. Actually, when I came in, I just heard a gentleman from New York saying that he is not a member of FELMAUSA. Instead, he is a member of Lemani in New York. But that's a little concern for me on one. But then the second concern is like I wanted to know.
Wait a second before you go to the second question. So the gentleman who said he's not a member of FELMAUSA, why is that a concern for you? Is that a question for Mr. Sidibey, or just what do you mean by that?
So this conference, is it not a part of the FELMAUSA conference we are having today, or is just a conference that is not having anything to do with FELMAUSA? So if you call it a FELMAUSA conference and you are not a member, and you are going to be contributing to the success of FELMAUSA, so I don't know why you mean, but you're not a member of FELMAUSA. How come?
No, this is not a FELMAUSA conference. This is an independent institution. It's called the Liberian Diaspora Forum, a weekly talk show. You don't have to be a member of FELMAUSA to come on here. FELMAUSA got nothing to do with this one, as much as it is being managed and run by people who should belong to FELMAUSA, but it's not FELMAUSA conference. Now, having said that, we are hosting somebody who is a very prominent member of FELMAUSA and who has come on here to declare his intention for FELMAUSA presidency, and I'm speaking of Brother Isiaka Sidibey. But no, this is not a FELMAUSA teleconference. It's not.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that aspect of it. Fine.
Okay.
Now, my second question here is to Isiaka Sidibey. Is he not a member of the FELMAUSA board? If he is, why has the board done for FELMAUSA so far? Since the Belete administration became, installed like a year ago, and then we don't have any financial report, we don't have any outreach to the community. So I'm very, very concerned. What role Belete and Sidibey play in the FELMAUSA board to make sure that the leadership report to its membership? So if he's claiming now to be to vie for the presidency of FELMAUSA, will he not be repeating the same thing that was just, experienced by the membership? So that's my concern.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara.
Thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Kamara, right?
Yeah, Mr. Kamara. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara. And that's a very valid question, no doubt about it. You can't escape that. I came as a board member before the presidency of Mr. Belete. At the time, Brother A.B. was the chairman of this the chairman of the board. We came, in fact, when there was a fight between the board as to place an injunction and stop the convention at the time. At that time, our president out here, Mr. Koshia, has declared his intention. So I formed a committee at that time of the VPA and Mr. Dolly as well. Mr. Dolly wasn't initially there, but he came in finally, had to break through on that. So the fight was so intense on Listen and other media that we decided that this may not be the viable option for the Majingo community. Not everyone want to witness this. So when we broke through that, we decided to run. I decided to run for assistant secretary position, and I got that. And later on, I became a secretary for Honorable Famo. What have we done, or what have I done specifically for this organization during this time, during these difficult times? Many things that we have done during our leadership on the board. We decided to abstain from having a competitive or enmity with the administration, like during previous years. Every time there was a fight between a board and an administration, between a board, we decided to stop that. We said they run the day-to-day activities, we oversee them. When there are infractions, we voice it out through emails, through verbal communications. I did that throughout. I was, in fact, the liaison between the administration and its critics, and many people who did not agree directly with with their deals. And some were justifiable and some were not so, but they were all in the interest of FELMAUSA. So I became a direct liaison. When there was anything from the leadership of the administration, they came to me and wrote directly to the secretary, and I followed it up, act on it. When the board had problems, we wrote the administration several letters on those things, and they asked us that they were going to act on it. One mistake that we may have done, and this is something that we initially did intentionally, was that for public consumption, we should have done some of those things, put them out there. There are a series of letters of communication between us and the administration where we decided that things that were not right, we communicated to them. Things that were right, we commended them for it. We had lots of tete-a-tete. Previously, the board and administration has not seen eye to eye. During our time, we stopped that because our honorable chairman, Mr. Famokwane, he said, we are not competitors or fighters. We are teammates. That was the slogan of our board. And we decided to meet that demand. We made sure that whatever was there, we called the administration and they came around. We talked about those things. Sometimes they told us that there was lack of manpower, and we asked them to communicate those things. That throughout the administration, we did not have a financial secretary, which they claim led to some of those inconsistencies. And there are some good things they did. There are some other things that they fell short on. Should we back off and turn our back to the organization because of that? I believe that we should be holding on to the organization while because it is an imperfect union, and we are working towards perfection. So some of those things, if the public asks for those interactions and exchanges, I'll be very willing to do those if it is accepted by the general board, because I'm the custodian and I'm still subject to the board. But we did a lot of series of things. What are some of the things that we did? During the Atlanta saga, where the administration and the current president of Atlanta clashed over membership criteria, we did a lot of work and we brought it to an end. Today there's an election in Arizona where Arizona will elect its president. Some of those things we've been doing it at the back, behind the scene, and we are taking active procedures on those things. One thing we've not done, and I really hold myself responsible for it, I've been acting on it very slowly, was that whatever we do, that the public has something to learn about it. The public is aware of it through social media, through listserv, through the website. And that's also the job of the administration as well, because I'm a board member, not an administrative member. So we did a lot. When the Lima crisis as well, the board was the one who resolved it. So these are some of the things that we've done. As a secretary of the board, you can only do so much, but your decision and your aspirations and your vision will have to come out when you want to lead. So this is me right here. Everything that will be on me will be my direct responsibility, and this is why I'm asking the public in this forum to help me become the next president of the federation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's well said. Before we take the next caller, let me take time to welcome a few new listeners who just joined the show. I do want to welcome you to a very special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. We are hosting Honorable Isiaka Sidibey, who has just declared his intention to run for FELMAUSA presidency. We are at the point where we are entertaining questions. So if you have any question, comment, or concern, please dial *61 on your phone, and we'll open up your line. Mara Jabate has a follow-up question, but before I take that, though, but Mr. Sidibey, we've had after next month's election, FELMAUSA would have had 3 former presidents, Richmond, Ducle, and Belete. The question is, which one of those 3 presidents would you like to be? Which one of them would you like to emulate, and why? And then second question is that so far we've seen education mission and now medical mission repeated, medical mission twice. So what mission will you be embarking on, sir?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kruma. Of the previous presidents, I want to be myself. I want to emulate all of them. But one thing I want to do more than anything is be myself, and I'm very confident in how. I'm very thankful to God how I was raised and how I've been around the community. I will seek advice where it's necessary, but I have my personal vision where I want to take the organization as well. One of the most important things I want to look at, and I'm not taking credit from anybody. I really appreciate everything our community members have done. You will not know until you are there. It's a tough thing. I want to focus more on education. Of course, the medical mission is a good thing. It's actually one of the great things we've done. No other communities besides the Mandingo community have taken on this enormous financial sacrifices for the larger Mandingo community. It's never been happening before. So you have to give them credit. This leadership, the previous leaderships, and of course our dynamic medical mission team, led by Mr. Joseph Sacco. But I believe in this. You get sick today, you get healed tomorrow. Unless to fix that, you have to have a preventive care. That's a burden that only the leadership of the whole country can take up, not us. So this is why it is a name recognition for the Federation. The Mandingo community continues to be known. I believe that the most important deficiency we have right now is education. We are at the bottom of the ladder. You don't have to talk to nobody to understand it. Unless we fix that, we will continue to be at the bottom for some time now. I believe that we can do it in our weak ways, and if the community resources are attended to that, the resources are attended, our power, our energy, and our resources, the knowledge base is attended to those things. That will be the most important thing for us in our association with this federation. I believe that if you learn today, no one takes it away from you. And we are Muslims, or many of us are Muslim. We've learned that the most important thing you can give to someone is the knowledge. Because Rasul said that look for education, even if it has to be China. China being the farthest location at the time. So I believe that we can focus on that. While the medical mission is still maintained by us, we can do it every other year. That's something we can continue to do. But we have to prioritize education more than anything. And in a few days, I'll be coming up with, I'll be putting finishing touches on my platform, and the community will have a chance to see it and a distinctive difference between it and maybe my brothers that are running. They'll see the difference and they'll be able to make a choice. I believe that I am the tested choice. I've led the communities before, and I'll continue to lead it, and I'll be able to lead this one as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll take that follow-up question from Mr. Jabate. Mr. Jabate, welcome back to the show, and your follow-up question, sir.
Honorable Sidibey, I don't need to remind you again, but FELMAUSA is everybody concerned, and whether we are member or not member, it is everybody concerned. When you succeed, the Mandingo community succeed. But all organization, Liberian organization, time is what is needed. And you say in your opening statement that you ask yourself a question, do you have the time? And you say yes. What time does it take to run FELMAUSA? This is just my question and to you. What time does it take to run FELMAUSA? And have other people, what time did the other people really take, to run this organization? And that is viable today. And because if it was not viable, you won't be interested in being president. So what time do you have? And what is your educational background? And, what is your education? Master, BS, high school? That is of a concern to me. I think I will come back again, as we continue this discussion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Mr. Jabate. Like you said, FELMAUSA is everyone's concern. If it succeeds, we all succeed. If it fails, we all have failed in certain ways. Before I decided to run for this office, I really took into consideration one of the most important things. Would I have the time and the dedication to this organization? Because you can have the knowledge, you can have everything, but the desire to do the things, the sacrifice counts very importantly. And these are some of the things that I asked. And when I talked to my family about it, we talked about it very enormously. Some said, well, you're already a president down here. I said, well, can I be better? Can I help the larger Madingo community? During my time as the president from this, we were from zero balance to 7,000 plus in my administration here now. We've begun a mosque project. We've already made so many pledges. We've called imams from around the country. They've come down here. We are on the way to obtaining our 501c3. So if I want to be somebody, I want to make a difference. How small that difference is, I want to be able to obtain something different from what the previous administrations have done. That's what, when I do something, I always ask myself questions. Can I do it? And if it's yes, the second question comes, will I do it? And if that's yes, then I'll go for it with God in mind. So I am an associate degree holder in art and science. I've also do my T clerk license. I was planning on becoming a police officer at first, so I did those. I am also a 9th grade student in Arabic school. I went to Mahad in Zerikole during my refugee time. I was the youngest one to have registered in Mahad in Zerikole. So I have those little educational background, but I'm dedicated to community service. I've done it throughout my life. I was a captain in school and became an assistant school prefect and became a school prefect in Lola Prefecture when I came down here. So I've spoken before on those things. So the time that is required, it's not a specific time that you have to say, I have to work for this organization every 8 hours. I believe that you have to have time at all times. You have to have moments. You have to be able to make a difference between a moment and a time to run an organization. There are certain moments when they pass, you never get them back. So most of those things, it comes naturally sometimes, but as also you have to be dedicated to your organization. So I hope this, your question is answered, and over the few days leading to the election, we'll be having various shows, not just here, but Kwadoboni Madingo Association radio show, Radio Cornea shows, and we'll also be launching our official campaign a few hours from now. I just wanted to have that humble experience for my community members that are very, very dedicated to this organization. Coming here alone shows what type of passion you have for the organization. And right after this, you'll see a vigorous movement in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. We have quite an impressive number now, and I predicted this. It's always the case. Most people come, unfortunately, when the show is almost halfway through or almost towards the end. So to many of you who just logged on, again, I say welcome to a very special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum Weekly Talk Show. We have two major events today. The first one is what we are all listening to right now, and that happens to be Brother Isiaka Sidibey of Texas declaring his intention for FELMAUSA presidency. At this point, he's entertaining question. We are entertaining question, if I might add. So if you have any question, comment, or concern, please dial *61 on your phone, and I'll open up your line so you can make your comment, express your concern, and or ask your question. After this, later tonight, we got a group of Liberian lawyers who just sued the Liberian government for the automatic loss of citizenship, dual citizenship, some call it. They will be coming on this show later tonight at 8 p.m. to discuss the progress of their lawsuit and the basis of it, and the chances of the lawsuit, making it over. I have a follow-up caller here. I believe this is Mr. Kamara. He had called earlier. But honestly, I wish many of you who are on here now, will dial *61 on your phone to take our candidate to tax. But we need to ask these hard questions now rather than later. So before I take the next, before I take this follow-up caller, let me ask Mr. Sidibey this again. I know anyone can get on the ballot, but not everyone can win. So what sort of effort is your campaign making to ensure that you win FELMAUSA presidency, and what sort of responses are you getting from the community members?
Well, we are very happy and hopeful. We started this campaign a little late. It was very unusual and out of the ordinary. But the responses so far have been very, very optimistic. We believe that we can get the magic number. We are not taking our candidates for granted, and we have high respect for all of them. They are community members. They have, in fact, coming out, as Mr. Sharif said, it shows some type of dedication to Mandingo, to community service. We've reached out to all the states. We are working hard. We are reaching out. We want to run a very humble and respectful campaign, but we are aggressive in nature. That's the type of person I am, and that's how I will act in every aspect of my life. Whatever I want to go for it. Would I get all of them? Probably not. But my positivity is sky high. So we are very overwhelmed by the responses, and we will look forward to a very successful campaign. Thank you, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara, and thank you for the callers now beginning to make interest. That's what I'd like to see more of that. Now, Mr. Kamara, you were here before, but since you have a follow-up question, please permit me. I'm going to take this new caller, and then I promise shortly after that we'll get back to you with a follow-up question. Our new caller, 8654, I believe from the same Philadelphia area, 267 area code. 8654, would you please identify yourself? Please tell us your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for Brother Isiaka Sidibey. 8654.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Fumba Vidi Toure, calling from Philadelphia area. Mr. Sidibey, welcome you to the race.
Thank you.
We know a political campaign is an organized effort we seek to influence the decision-making process. Having said that, we know that the message of campaign contains the idea that the candidate can want to share with voters. What would be yours?
I'll repeat the last question again.
What is your message?
Okay.
My message is okay.
Okay. Well, obviously you came a little late, but I'll let the candidate go repeat that. It will certainly be a repeat because you actually started with his message. Having said that, I believe he's a people's servant, so I'll let him go over that. Mr. Sidibey, what is your message once again?
Once again, my message has been to everybody since I decided to run for this campaign. Bring it back FELMAUSA to its basic again. The founding fathers forming this organization had a vision. It was not directly about Mamaya. Entertainment was part of it, but the core fundamental of this organization was to, as has been said all over, maybe some have changed, to empower the Liberian Mandingo ethnic group through capacity building by providing educational, health, and social assistance. So that is something that we have to hold on to. That's almost the original preamble. What is the fundamental reasons for forming this organization? And the most important one is education. And I'm the tested choice to carry that forward. I'm a student of this game. I've been in it for so long. I have the endurance, the energy and the endurance to withstand pressure and make sure I follow the rule of law. Oftentimes we've had when our leaders, as I said earlier, when one is faced with questions, why you have to do this, you're wrong. They say, you know what, I'm sorry for the words, we're going to do it the way we want to. That's not what FELMAUSA is about. We have to introduce our Mandingo community to respecting the law. The Mandingoism has to be redefined. And this is my message to my dearest community members. Thank you, and I hope your question was answered.
Thank you, Mr. Sidibey. Thank you. We'll now take that follow-up question from, I believe, Mr. Kamara. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Mr. Kamara, previously from Philadelphia. 3125-3125. Mr. Kamara, I believe. Welcome back to the show. Your follow-up question, sir. Hello, Mr. Kamara? Hello? Mr. Sidibey, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Kamara must not be by his... Mr. Kamara, are you there? 3125? Okay, so he must not be by his phone, so we will skip in. Maybe, hopefully, we'll get back to him later. So, folks, once again, we are gearing towards the end of this very special announcement press conference, call for and featuring Mr. Isiaka Sidibey, now candidate for FELMAUSA presidency. If you're just joining us, we say welcome to the show, and quite a few of you have. And if you have any question, comment, concern, or follow-up question, please dial *61. We will open up your line so you can ask your question. Now, while we await Mr. Kamara to come back or anybody else to make an entry, let me, recently, an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, in person of our Cabinet Jane, was in the States here, and we hosted him on this show, and he was also hosted on many other shows. But on our show, I think on Grand Cornier show, to be precise, the question, he was here at the time the medical mission had not left here, and people were asking questions about their role with regard to FELMAUSA medical mission in Liberia, and he made it quite clear that they were now on good footing with FELMAUSA. The medical missions, the way they went, the last one before this, not this last one, the one Ducle took there, that they didn't feel treated right about that, and it seemed as though, or it sounded as though there are some issues between Madingo Caucus and Grand Cornier, for FELMAUSA. So my question is, were you to become FELMAUSA next president, and assuming that those issues exist, how will you go about dealing with that? How will you resolve issues of that nature, Mr. Sidibey?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kurma. Like I've said many times during my conversation with brothers and sisters, is that we stay true to who we are. Leaders have different visions. Leaders have different ways and many ways to take on issues. Whatever we administration do at a time, people have to learn to respect those things. The answers to many questions are at the ballot. Not the typical African mentality that if it's not my way, I'm not going to be part of it, and in fact, I will destroy it. That's not how we should do things. So basically, I believe that the FELMAUSA Medical Mission bring good attention to this organization. Absolutely, yes. Have we done what no other organizations have done? Absolutely, yes, in this medical mission. Imagine medical doctors coming to our organization to help people. So this is symbolic for us. It's something we have to embrace, but it requires explaining to people what you are about to do. It requires opening up to criticism constructively. You remember medical mission is symbol right now, but when it came, it was not everybody was on board. The board in fact, did not approve of it, but administration did it. That's something we have to also consult. If I become a president, I'm looking forward to explaining our various roles. What can we do as leaders? What is the role of the board? Any nonprofit organization has a role for its board to expand, to look for avenues where the administration can make revenues. We have those things. The board cannot just be overseers. They have to have some different roles as well. So that makes them needed. So I'm looking forward to that. So right now is a symbol, but before it came, it was not so much. So I'm looking forward to those things. We have to stand to what we are. and explain to people what it's about. If you don't do that, in Madingo community, you have something, you say, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm going to do it. You know what? We have a tradition. We say in our tradition, what can you do? So as a leader, you have a responsibility to bring people in. You are not just a regular Madingo man anymore. You are leading. You are taking up the slack of the elders. They may not be administratively doing everything, but you are working in their capacity. So that's something I think we should be doing. We should be accepting one another. We should be embracing criticism. We should not turn our back because we're being criticized. Because if you open up to yourself, you are, exposing yourself to ridicule. So we have to have that strength to withstand that. So I believe that Mr. Kafumba, we have to explain to him what this is about. Has it brought pride to our community? Can all Madingo, whether you are part of this FELMAUSA or not, can you say I'm proud of my community because of this? If that question is yes, then we should be able to find a compromise. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to doing, inshallah.
Thank you, Brother Sidibey. Folks, we are almost at the end, and if you haven't had a chance to ask your question yet, well, now may just be the perfect time to do so. Well, let's see if 3125 got back to his phone. 3125, Mr. Kamara, are you back?
Yeah, Mr. Kamara is here.
Okay, so we checked you earlier. Apparently, you were not by your phone. So
quickly,
what's your follow-up question?
Yeah, the follow-up question is how to do with the same, almost similar thing that I asked. The FELMAUSA, I'm very much concerned about the FELMAUSA because when Mr. Sidibey was in the board, he was serving as the board secretary, and I wanted to know what leadership effort he applied to make sure that the Behavior Administration make financial report. We had a convention. We don't know how much we make because we got conflicting figures. Some people say we got 36,000. Some people say we got 20. Some people say we got 16. And the latest figure I saw, I heard about was 13,000. So we don't know. So we just in the vacuum. We don't know what's going on. So what kind of role he played to make sure that the administration become accountable to its membership, that we get updated with our financial status. We don't know. And the medication went on. We don't know how much was spent and how much was made or whatever, whether any losses. We don't know. So why? Because he want to be our next leader. So I want to know whether he is able to do those things to make sure that things become right. So that's my concern.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara. And a genuine concern for any Madingo community because the administration ran on transparency, and every community member has to be accountable for your words. For the convention report on 2012, the administration did send it, and we had a fierce debate about it. We sent it back to them for some irregularities that may have been in there. They sent it back to us. We gave questions and answers pertaining to states that gave their membership dues. Some states gave double what they're supposed to have done in the previous year. So we had those discussions. We sent it to them. So we had back and forth discussion. At the end of the day, the 21 days passed, and then we arranged negotiations. Why it did not come to listserv for public consumption, the board does not oversee that. We oversee the administration, making sure the rule of law is followed, but not whatever. The community has to ask for public consumption. You have to ask, what is this? And that question goes directly to the administration. My state members, they know about the financial document of the organization. Because when I go on a board, I get information. I have to disseminate it to people that deserve to know about it. Every chapter has 2 representatives on a board. So every chapter, every board member is responsible to feed your people with with information. After the meeting, what do? I send the text out as what has been agreed upon. Recently, the administration has just acted on their words and sent out the final financial reports. Where they fall short on the time limit, yes, they did what they have to do. they send the financial report to its members. We are still going through the process. We've given it to the board, the chairman on the oversight committee on finance, who's happened to be Honorable Dynamic Califala Donzo. We've given him a time limit by Wednesday up to a week that he sends that result to us, see what are some of the discrepancies, and then make sure that we have a final say on it. And we will send it back to them. Did we agree on it? Yes or no? Did we not agree? We will let them know that. And then when it's all agreed upon, they will have to feed a community about it again. This thing is a process, and we have to be able to communicate that to everybody. In my administration, what I would do, when these things happen, the PRO is there to feed the community with that. And that's something I'm looking forward to doing, inshallah ta'ala. And if the question is not answered, I will be very happy to follow up right after this domain, and I can talk one-on-one to you, inshallah.
Okay, thank you. Folks, as I say again, we are about reaching the very end of this program, and I'm seeing a very good number of you here. Obviously, you are silent for reasons best known to yourself. Sometimes you learn more by staying silent. I understand that. But if you wish to make a comment, express a concern, or ask a question, now is the time to dial *61. Brother Jabate, I'm not seeing your name. You've made an entry to make another follow-up question. I'll be getting to that shortly here. So if you haven't had a chance, and I know some of you haven't because some of you just got here, and in case you're wondering who you're listening to, you're listening to Mr. Isiaka Sidibey of Texas, Dallas, Texas, who has just declared his intention for FELMAUSA presidency. We've been here going on an hour now, so if you have any question, comment, or concern, good. Thank you. Somebody just made an entry, so I think I'm making an impact. Before I take this question, though, let me ask you this question again, Mr. Sidibey. This is probably, and please don't take this question negative. I don't want you to. This is recorded, and it's we are a lot of people on here as of right now. One of the many problems that I've seen with the Mandingo community over the years is that people go to the election expecting to be winners and winners only, and as we know, only one person can win most of the time. And I've always said sometimes, the community wins, regardless of that one individual being elected for that period of time. That's precisely one reason why when we had our community election here last year, I don't know how much you know, I ran and I lost by a very narrow margin. But I was very great. I was grateful that people came out, and I warmly embraced that, and I immediately called my opponent and then the winner and congratulated him for his win. And I've since made myself available to work with him, even though I haven't been taken up on that offer. You said earlier that there are other capable candidates running. You've acknowledged their capability and the rest of it. So the question is, if you don't win, how prepared are you to offer your services, your valuable experience, knowledge, all of which you've demonstrated here today? How prepared are you to offer that still to the winner if you are not the winner?
Thank you very much. I want to win. That's my goal. I'm going to this election to win and be the next president. But I also expect the narrative. I've played soccer before. As a captain, I understood that sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. If you don't win, what do? You have to pat your friends on the back and tell them congratulations. So, like I said, I've worked with those guys that are running this election, at least some of them, and I know them. I know who they are. We may have different vision. We've disagreed on many things, but we do it with respect and bond. So we've created those things. Working on a board sometimes is a hard thing to do. If you work with somebody 2 years and still maintain that good friendship with them, then there's no way you cannot continue that. So I'm running against people that I have worked with, and I will continue to work with them. In the case where I don't win, I will still give a service to the community. I will still work with those. If I'm offered a job, I will still maintain it. If I'm not offered, I will come in any way possible to help FELMAUSA. It's been my way. During the Duke administration, we created a secretariat with Morris, Morris was the secretary at the time. We decided that, you know what, all the secretaries in states, let's call them and see how best we can have a data system where we have names of other organizations. I always wanted to do something for the federation. That's what I did. I provided my own money to help some people that did not have the direct means to go for the convention. I did all those things. So whatever I can do to help this community, I will do it. I've had the load of the bull for the past 2 years in some ways. I have a dynamic chairman who is very demanding. He wants you to meet the time on everything, and I was able to do those things. That's something I was proud of myself about. So in the case where I don't win, going to this election, we have a very good team. We believe that we can do a lot better. We can go as far as possible. But this is the election. God gives leadership to who he wants to. Sometimes it's not just your qualification, but rather a blessing from God. So if we don't get it, we will continue to work with those that will get it, and we'll congratulate them. We'll continue to work with them in any way possible. That's a pledge that I have made to them in person. So, and the public needs to know that as well.
Thank you. So, let me take our next caller then. Folks, we got less than 15 minutes remaining of the show, so keep your questions coming. Brother Jabate, I'll come to you for a follow-up question, but let me take this new caller here. No name, 1299-1299. Would you please tell us your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for Mr. Sidibey? 1299. Hello? 1299, 1299, 267 area code. Are you there? 1299? Okay. Well, new caller is probably not by his phone, so you need to adjust your phone if you're hearing us and we're not hearing you. So we'll go to Randolph for his follow-up question, and then we'll come back to this guy. Hopefully he's there. Otherwise, we will again turn the floor over to Mr. Sidibey for his closing remark after these few questions, few callers here. Mr. Jabate, welcome back to the show. Your quick follow-up question, comment, or concern?
First concern, and it's a question also. We recognize Minnesota as even before the forming of the new FELMAUSA, we recognize Minnesota as one of the key players in the process of the formation of FELMAUSA. And those of us that follow it up, one of your former president, I think he is the one with the human rights group, was during the IUSA program, the discussion of this formation was discussed. Formation of FELMAUSA was discussed, and the young people carried through. But what is going to happen to what Minnesota is saying that they are now going to the convention, and they have gone all of these years to the convention, is that of a concern to you? Will you be able to solve that before the convention? And I hope it is solved, but the question is, will you be able to solve that? The second concern is, and I'm going to honestly admit this to you, if you go to school for your BS after your associate, I bet you will not have the time enough to run FELMAUSA the way it should be run. And I hope that you will be honest with yourself, because this affects all of us. This is my concern, seriously. And some of us we suffer from the same thing. We go about and say we want to be president, but we don't take each situation into consideration. You have just emphasized that education is something that... No, I'm not. Education is something education is something that we want to, and I would like to see you go to school and get your BS. So, how are you going to handle these two? Working on your BS and then working on FELMAUSA, which is almost take full-time job to run FELMAUSA. So you have two full-time jobs. Your job to make living for your family, your job to go to school, and the job to run FELMAUSA. That's 3 full-time jobs, and then to take care of your family. This is something that concerns me. This is something I would like to advise young people that want to run our organization to make sure they don't make those errors. How do you express yourself to that?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Jabate.
what was your name again?
Mr. Jabate. That's my Jabate.
Mr. Jabate, thank you very much for your question. I think that it is an honest assessment. It's hard to have 4 times everything and still want to do everything at the same level. But that's the beauty of being in America when it comes to school. You do what you can do at a time to make sure that you are meeting the demands of your other activities or your other extracurricular activities. With regard to my full-time being taken by all this experience and work with FELMAUSA as well, we've done that. All politics is local. Leading a community where you are is one of the most difficult things. I was doing that at the same time a board member. Being a board member, we met every 2 weeks. We did emergency meetings. Every time you write an agenda, you have an EBL, executive board leaders. We do that. That's just as hard as anything. After that, you write the recap of meetings. You write to the administration. People will say that I didn't receive this email. You rewrite them. You have smartphones, all those things. So multitasking has been my strength, and I wouldn't try to run this organization if I had not put these questions to myself. Like I told you earlier, I asked myself, do I have the time to do this? And that was several times that came to my mind. And would I be dedicated to the fullest? People have suffered for this organization. No one needs to be reminded. Some are frustrated looking outside looking into it. We speak to them. I've spoken to some of them today. Their words were overwhelming, and I was very humbled by them. So that's something I'm looking forward to. As regard to Minnesota, Minnesota is a very important element of our organization. We need them. We need everyone in there. They have a leadership that are hardworking, that are doing everything in their community as well as other communities. We have a president that has done his best. Having a board to do many things has been we have a parliamentarian which happens to be the president from Minnesota. One thing I can advise I can advise people is that it does not have to be my way or the no way sometimes. We have to be able to respect the law. If it doesn't work my way, to fix it, I have to go to the ballot box and exert my anger. That's something I can do. We're going to continue to work with that. The board, we have talked to the administration. The administration is also making the best way possible to make sure that everything is exert. The absence of a state is a loss to FELMAUSA. Imagine how much money can be lost. Imagine how much knowledge can be abstained. Imagine the delegates count. So it's a loss to FELMAUSA either way. But we want to make sure that we stick to the rule. It may not work in our favor all the time, but when we continue to say, you know what, it's a law, let's just accept it. It may not be the right law, but let's just accept it. That's something I advise to everybody. A lot of times, as a stater of the board, votes go against me, and I'm asked to write that to people. Do I have to change the wording, make it soft, or what do I have to do? I have to be honest with myself. So that's something I think that we can continue to do. You can ask the Honorable Chief from Minnesota, Honorable B. Travelly. I got the Imam number from there, and Mr. Dukley as well, trying to initiate something in my weak ways. It may not be the result because I'm just a board member, and the secretary. I'm not the chief administrator, having to be Honorable Mohammed Bilite. They have those final saying. If they can work with Mohammed Dole, that's something we look forward to. But what we can do behind the scenes to make sure that there's a consensus, there's a harmony, I will do my best to do that. And right after launching our campaign, we'll be able to come out with position statements as to how these things can go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see if this guy's back by his phone. 1299, are you back now? 1299. Hello, 267 1299. All right, I'll take this guy out of here. He's probably not here. Well, folks, we do have another show coming up, as I said earlier, and not only that, this was just the beginning of, I believe, many press conferences to follow. This was just the very beginning, and I must say, this is highly historical. We've never had this done before. Isiaka Sidibey has become the first to design this way to declare his candidacy. Everything that follows from here will be just as fair as this one, but to start this way, I'm really impressed that he thought of this idea. And other candidates, potential candidates, have made a request ever since they saw the communication listserv. They've asked to be brought on the show so they can do what Mr. Sidibey has done today. So I want to thank you for that. Now, before I turn the floor over to you for your closing remark, I got two questions to ask. One happens to be, I'm told the Elections Commission will be doing certification of candidates for formally on the 15th or sometime later this month. Should that happen, will you be willing? I've spoken with Mr. Mohammed Fofana in New Jersey, and I briefly spoke with BT at the time. You had not declared your intention yet. But should all of you be certified as candidates, will you be willing to come back on here for a pre-convention debate with your colleagues?
Yes.
That's a yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And then my last question to you before you can actually address this in your closing remark too. The issue of Minnesota boycotting convention. You said it. You said it well. You are just the secretary of the board. You're not the chief. You're not the CEO. But if you were the CEO at this time, if you were, assuming that you were the CEO, and Minnesota, as vital as Minnesota is to the federation, many of you have spoken to that fact. So if you were in the highest decision-making position, and Minnesota is doing what she's doing, they're not only going to the convention, but they are also trying to stage another event here, parallel to that of which FELMAUSA is doing at the same date selected. Robocalls are, crossing each other along the way and all of that. To make in the midst of all of that, because they are not going to the convention, they are also deciding that they would not allow anybody from here to go on an official basis, more like holding people hostage. But if you were in the decision-making position, what would be your honest opinion on this, a very difficult, challenging issue? Because sometimes you can tell a lot by the position people take on critical issues like this. So what would you have done if you were Mohammed Bilite or the election commissioner today?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. That's one of the critical issues that is in our community right now, Minnesota issue, and rightfully so. And we know why. Every president deals with things very differently. I'm a hands-on person. I believe that if I'm leading something, I have to be at the helm. I have to have a say. I have to have a final say. And while the process is going, I want to be watching. Because at the end of the day, my name is attached to it. So if I am president while this thing is going on, I wouldn't allow it to reach this far. I would expect the law to be the final say, but it has to be interpreted through them. What I believe is that it does not have to reach here, but when it reaches here, what do? My physical presence is important, verbal, bringing the community leaders in. FELMAUSA has a provision where the state council, the elders, can be activated to make sure that they work with certain things that is out of control of the leadership. what I would do, first and foremost, I have observed Honorable President from Minnesota before I've worked with him. He has a hard standard. He's vigorous. He does what he thinks is in the best interest of his administration. But at the end of the day, behind the scenes, he's very soft. I would talk to him. I said, at the end of the day, your legacy that Madingo community have two conventions at the same time, where there's FELMAUSA here, there's Minnesota there. Is that your name when you leave this leadership? And I know the question will be no. What can I do possibly to do this merger so that you come in and join this convention? He will give me his assessment. If I'm not able to do it, I will tell him straight up, I'm not going to be able to do this. I won't compromise my value because of these things, because FELMAUSA is bigger than Minnesota. FELMAUSA is bigger than any single community. What can you do? I will attack him with those issues, and I know he won't escape it. He can't run away from the fact. And once I do that, what else I have at the tool? We have imams in Philly where I live. I have Imam Gofin. I have Imam Kani. I have other elders. If it costs me to use my own financial money or FELMAUSA's money to take these people to go to Minnesota, it's something that's been done. It's the law. It can't be changed anymore. But what we can change is your heart. If you are for FELMAUSA, they continue to do whatever they can do to be to represent their state. So this is the thing.
Okay.
At least people have to see an effort from me.
Right. Okay. I asked you the hypothetical question earlier as to if you don't win, whether you work with your colleagues. Now here's the opposite hypothetical question to that. If you do win the election, what can we expect to see an inauguration taking place in what state? Do you have a preference?
As it stands now, As it stands now, my community is in dire need to see FELMAUSA officials.
Okay.
If I win the election, I want to see people come and see the south side of the United States. The Lone Star, we have two city-states as members of FELMAUSA. I will leave a whole lot of time to make preparation. Our elders that are in the East Coast, how can they be here to see other elders down here? How can we work on some of those things? How can we expand our outreach to people that are not in touch, literally? So that's something I'm looking forward to, but there's no decision made on that yet. We're still working on our campaign, and we are not taking our candidates very lightly.
Okay. Thank you. Well, folks, we've been here for an hour, 30 minutes now. I think we've exhausted this issue to the fullest. Between 9 and 8 p.m. Central Time, if you want to listen to a repeat broadcast of Mr. Sidibey's declaration of his intention for FELMAUSA presidency, you can dial 551-726-1299 and dial access code 908209#. You can listen to repeat broadcast of this particular event right now between 9 and 8 p.m. only. 8 p.m. because at 8 we have a major show coming on, and once we have another show, that will automatically, that recording will override this one. So after 8 p.m., the only other way you will be able to listen to this program is when I upload it on YouTube, just like I have done with many of our other previous shows. Speaking of YouTube, Mr. Sidibey, I appreciate it if you can email me a picture of yourself so that sometime before the end of the week I can put this show up on YouTube so well-wishers and community members can go and listen to it. I want to thank you for coming. My name is Kafuma Krama. I'm the host, as always. And I will now turn the floor over to FELMAUSA, the president of Texas Madingo Association, now candidate for FELMAUSA presidency, so that he can make his closing remark. Mr. Sidibey, it's been a pleasure having you. The floor is yours for your closing remarks, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krama. And making this possible is because of you, and I want to thank you personally. And, of course, our visitors, all those that have taken their time out of this. I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day. I am not taking this load for granted. I know the enormous sacrifices you guys have made for this organization and for the Madingo community as well. I am very humbled. I'm asking you to help me lead the Madingo community. I have the qualification, the desire, the willingness, and of course, I have the creativity. What can I do differently? I have those things. Over the few days, I want you to please keep focused on what we are doing and be able to make a decision. I don't want any of us to make decisions on our affiliation, but rather on on your best, honest choice that you think can represent the community. I'm asking you for your votes. Your state's delegates will be running our campaign, a very respectful one. And here we are. I am running for candidacy to become the next president of the Federation of Liberian Mandingo Association in the United States. I want to thank you for coming, and I wish you all a happy evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sidibey, and we look forward to working with you and the other candidates over the next weeks and the days, months to come. So thank you, folks. You heard the man well. So we, on behalf of the Liberian Diaspora Forum, I do also like to thank you for tuning in today, and I encourage you to come back at 8 p.m. to hear Liberian lawyers discussing the lawsuit that was recently brought on the Liberian government for people with dual citizenship, American or foreign citizenship, losing their Liberian citizenship. So thank you, and have a wonderful night. Bye.
Thank you very much.